わー、わー、わー。はい、こんなせこんなせこんなせこんなする。声入ってる入ってるよね。俺の声は入ってるよな。絶対入ってるよね。はい。お待たせ。ごめんよ。遅くなって。残業最悪。マジさっき帰ってきたから、ちょっとごめんね。晩ご飯食べながらやります。はい。というわけで、今日やるゲームはね、ザ・スタンリー・パラブル・ウルトラ・デラックス。そこ重要。そこ大事だからね。ウルトラ・デラックスエディションだから。ウルトラ・ビッグ・デラックスだから。普段やってる TRPG ざわっとすんな。渋くんが作ってくれたんや。今で、大輝ありがとう、きよっちゃん。こんなせこんなせ。今ディスフォーで日本語。そうなんだよ。あれは変わってないよ。音声はまだ英語。けど、字幕がついて、日本語の字幕が、今年かな今年の何月か忘れたけど、追加されて。つまり、これをやる機会が来たということだ。ザ・スタンリー・パラブル。ウルトラ・デラックス・エディション。字幕はつくんだけどね、俺いちいち字幕読まないからね。ちゃんと見てんだよ。俺は楽しみたいんや。読まずに。お酒を添えて、ご飯食べながらいやもう、疲れた今日。結構職場が遠いからさ、疲れたんだよ。昔なかったから UC 翻訳パッチやってて遊んでみた。いいじゃん。大体そうだよね。大体みんな、あれパッチやってて、やってたよね。なんか、パッチやってたりとか、音声からテキストに変換する翻訳ソフトとかでやってたよね。というわけで、ちょっと、何の音量調整もやってないから、とりあえず、えーっと、音声は気をつけて。俺が一番ダメージ食らうけど、ちゃんと配信の音声は下げてるけど、ちょっとどうなるかわからんから、めちゃくちゃうるさいかもしれんから。ハングル。おい。プレイしたことありますか？いいえ。この質問の意図はね、あれだね。何年か前にスタンリー・パラブルっていう、ウルトラデラックスが出る前に、一個、これの、ごめんね、ウルトラデラックスエディションは、昔出たスタンリー・パラブルの延長版なんで、でも俺はやったことない。パソコンがギリギリ見えるくらいまでスライダーを調整してください。あ、そういうこと？パソコンがギリギリ見えるくらいの。これぐらいじゃね？知らんけど、みんなどんな明るさで見てんのか。うい、おい、おい、おい、おい。見える。これぐらいかな。おい。現在の遅刻、今何時？携帯確認しよう。じゃあ、10時。変えないで。10時52分。はい。アクセシビリティ設定はメインメニューからアクセスできます。OK。お腹すいた。ご飯食べよう。ロードしてる間。いただきます。今日の晩ご飯はチンチャオロースです。うるさいうるさいうるさいうるさいうるさいうるさいうるさいうるさいうるさいうるさいうるさいうるさいうるさい。はい、じゃあ待って、はいはいはい。うるさいうるさい。もうちょいうるさくてもいいな。これぐらいでいいか。配信みんな聞こえる？これ。これ絶対 ASMR 聞くの好きな人 くでしょこれ。ずっとこれやってるでしょ。 ASMR 大好きな人は。いいよ、しばらくこれやってあげる。 ASMR 好きな人よ。どう？いい？もうはい。じゃあ早速ね、始めていこうかね。字幕は読まないよ。わーと主いらっしゃい。こんなすこんなす。見に来てくれてありがとう。
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
字幕読まないからね。
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
このゲームで聞いてるのが、ものすごくめたいっていうことなんだよね。うわ、感度高っ。ASMR 好きな人どうぞ。はい。いい？感度高い。あ、すごい音。ちょっと待って。ガチで、どこから感度変えるのこれ。待って、一般カメラ感度あった。にあ、高いよ。2でも高い。ゼロ。ゼロでも高い。これ、本当にもうちょっと、あ、これぐらい大きく見せようか、字幕。視野角。いや、違うよな。そうなるよな。カメラ感度かな。まあいいや、これでなんとか頑張ろう。抹茶さん、こんなす。
All of his co-workers, oh please, are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
もう20回以上押してんだけど。
I have to say I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do.
絶対50回以上クリックしちゃって。ああ、俺人バズりここにいるぜ。お前がアチーブメントくれるまで俺ずっとこれやってるから。今日の配信これだから。 君たちが何と言おうと今日の配信これだから。コミットメントね。努力ね。今頑張ってるよ。今人差し指使えたから中指に変えたよ。417。遠いじゃないか。めんどくさ。中指に変えた。今日の配信これだから。疲れた。よし。ナンバーワンダット。世界一のパパ。いいね。愛されてるね。だけど、その父さんはもう帰ってくることはなかった。Who farted? 誰が屁こいた何これ読めない。しゃがみとか、しゃがみコントロールか。ちょっと変えよう。これね、ちょっと、今からちょっとコントロール設定変えるけど、俺が今しゃがむをする場所を見てもみんな俺のこと嫌わないでほしい。オートウォークなんてあんの初めて知った。417っつったよね。ジャンプはないのか。俺が用意そう。417。
Great. Now, go click a few times on door 437.
437に戻ればいいの任せろ任せろやったわ。これみんな。437。437さん ?43 あった。
Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
OK。任せろ。お前4違うね。任せろ。
Now, back to door number
よし。
437.
任せろ。これはひどいとか言うな。これは素晴らしいコンテンツだから。437。
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine?
Yes. いいアイデア。
All right, back to room
OK。
417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting
いける。
somewhere.
これはアチーブメントもんでしょ。
Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk.
任せろ。どうやって乗るの？
Yes!
Yosh.
This is great!
Yes.
You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I
So-
like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416.
416ね。任せな。
We've almost got it!
What's it
Now
there?
the copy machine,
You're
do that one again! Finish it off, Stanley! 5 clicks on door 430!
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes! We did it!
Yes!
Oh, wow.
Oh.
That felt amazing. Oh, you really earned it, Stanley. Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today. Just think, only a few minutes ago, you believed an achievement was worth 5 little clicks. Really now? What were you thinking?
何考えてたって？コンテンツを作ることを考えてた。きたー。気持ちいい。今日の配信ここまででいいもん。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
左っつった？
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Yes.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Yes.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
ご飯食べよう。見惚れてる？
Yes, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, Here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings.
うんうん
Really worth it.
うんうんマジ価値ある。こうやって君が喋りながら僕
At
は
this
美味しい
point,
ご飯を食べ
Stanley's
る。
obsession
Shut
with
up!
this room
俺が
was a
喋ってんの
little
今。
creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
それはいじめじゃない？それはナスにも刺さるよ。
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
チンジャオロースうま。よし、行くか。
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
まっすぐだもんね。
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
誰だろ
Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
う。おお、うらら。
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
彼女おお
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her.
彼女 ?My girlfriend?
Oh, Stanley, is that you?
Yes!
Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
おお
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you?
おい
I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
あ、見せて見せて。わ
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
死ぬの。おはようございます。従業員番号427。Press T on your ここ忘れてる人ね。ここ。これ、日本語になってないですよ。もしもし、もしもし、ナレーターさん。もしもし。こう Press T on your keyboard になってるよ。直してねえ。はい、押します。
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
日本の社会人の9割じゃん。Z 押して、なんでこれ正常なの？ Z 押してください。さっきの Press T on your keyboard はどこ行ったの？
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do.
Yeah.
Now he's pushing a button.
Yes.
Now he's eating lunch.
Yeah.
Now he's going home.
Yeah.
Now he's coming back to work.
Yeah, 日本
One
社
might
会
even。feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
これ作った人はね、日本社会理解してると思う。日本社会理解して、こいつが別の方法で金持ちになって、見ろよ、こいつは必死に働いて、月給安い20万のためにつってるよ。
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
やめてくれ。これ俺にも刺さるんだ。テレビを見るために、テレビ見ないもんね。
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
少年たちと過ごしたりする。
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
このゲームいいね。1、俺が食べながらこのゲームできる、勝手に喋ってくれるから。2、俺が喋んなくてもこいつが勝手にコンテンツ出してくれる。ありがたい。
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Yeah. やっぱり子供いるじゃん。子供たちって、近所の子供たちも。俺は結婚してるんだ。
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
やっぱいつもいるじゃん、俺。
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
おやすみ。
And I'm
もう寝ていいん
trying
で
to
すか？
tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
いいよ。押してあげる。
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see
日
what
本
I
人
see?
だから、日本社
How
会
can I
人だ
make
から。
him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley.
メタす
But
ぎる
not。so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button.
これダークになったな、一気に。あ、死んだ。面白いな。おもろいな、このゲーム。いいね。好きだわ。じゃあ、ちょっと。
All of his co-workers would, oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the
また同じか。
achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No, no, no.
いや、いいね。
I can't just give
おい、
these
このゲーム
rags
好きだ
away
わ。
for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose when Stanley came to a set of 2 open
じゃあ
doors,
今回は
he
微
entered the
妙
door
に
on his
指
left.
示に従おう。今回は微妙に指示に従おう。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
なんでか急に、プロジェクターどこあった。あ、読ませてよ。Using slides to assure employees that everything is okay. Make sure your slide has a slick blue graphic in the fucking everyone is unique. You, most of all. 俺は違う。モブじゃないだってさ。バカがよ。 Number of slides on this slide. 意味わからんすぎる。いいな。これ意味わかんないのが好きなんだよね。ごめんね、多分に。英語だからワンちゃんわかんないかもしれんけど。何これ、ほうきのクローゼット。はあ、なんかあるはず。
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
やーだ。俺は今回微妙に言うこと聞くって言ったもんね。
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
いや、君がそれを言うことによって僕はもっとここにいたがるんだけど。さてやる。
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
ちなみに FA って意味は fuck all っつって。
Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
ご飯食べてるの。何もないがあるじゃないか。
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
君がストーリーの制御できるので、もうちょっとこいつらにインタラクトできるように設定してくれなかったかな。
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
俺の友達は賛同してくれるよ。
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
こんなやべえ積んでないでしょ。まさに。
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. We got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and we're just about to leave because there's nothing here when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
もう諦めんの君。人が死ぬんだぞ。君が立てた仮説で俺は死んでるって。もうちょっと頑張ってくれない？もうちょっと頑張ってくれることを信じるよ。頑張ってくれないらしい。もうちょっと頑張ってよ、俺のチンジャオロースト食べたかったから。
Ah, second player. Good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who did it before you. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
でも下の階段がある。下の階段があるんだよ。チャットにいるみんな、上行くか下行くか、今書いて。ちょっとめちゃくちゃ悩んでる今。微妙に言うこと聞くとは言ったけど、どうしようか。分岐を変えるほどの、絶対ここ分岐変えるじゃん。今はクローゼット行ったところで、 分岐変えないじゃん。分岐変えるほどの言うことを聞かないか、分岐の変えない程度で言うことを聞かないか。OK。もうちょい待つ。ナスビは2人いたじゃないんだよ。ナスビ2号だね。やめよう。勝手に俺をクローニングすんな。じゃあご飯食べてるから、ちょっと、これチンチャオロース食べ終わるまで受け付けてるわ。アーカイブ見てる人もね、あれしてくれ。どっち行くか予想してくれ。よし。赤いな。
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical star field. And it too appeared. It was so much fun. And Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought.
Yeah.
And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not seem to make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been.
やっぱり嫁いたんじゃん俺。
My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
なんか急にエモくなったな。
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I'm real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Oh my God, who am I? And everything went black.
Oh.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
俺変わった。私変わったわ。
Mariella woke up on a day like
生まれ
any
変わった
other.
わ。
She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work.
Yeah.
But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life.
Yeah.
She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there,
おい、
staring
救急
down
車
the
呼べよ。
body,
おい。
and then she turned and ran.
おーい、救急車呼べ。おい。おい。置いてくんな、俺を一人で。おい。おい。見捨てられただけ俺。戻っちゃったよ。じゃあ今回は言うこと全部聞こうか。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
よし。開けれる扉と開けれない扉がある。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he
左ね。
entered the door on his
はい
left.
はいはいはい。はいはいはい。けどちょっと反抗はさせてもらうよ。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided, Oh no, oh no, no, no,
Come
no,
on.
no, 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 not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm
本当に
just going to be patient and wait
本当
for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
ゆっくりどうぞ諦めた。本当に何も言わないの君。待つよ。私待つ。いつまでも待つよ、俺は。本当に何も言ってこないよ。よし。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
はいはいはい。ちょっと壁のデザインダサいかな。変えてくんないか。ワーク。エレベーター。上に行けんのここからさらに。階段そこで止まってたよね。ちょっと待って。やけごま。開けっこれお金持ちになること、それは犯罪か。犯罪を犯すこと、犯罪を犯すこと、それはそれは価値のあるものじゃないか。What life it would be。 一つだけを選ぶ世界はなんて世界、なんて一つを選べない人人生はなんて人生だ。 よし。パンダ。あ、クソ迷惑できる。そういえばさ、思ったんだけどさ、日本のエレベーターってあんまり日本のエレベーターってあんまりあれないよね。BGM。おナレーターも歌ってる。わ、秀夫さん、おいっすー、こんばんすー。いらっしゃい。イェイェイェイ。キャッツ、キャッツ、キャッツ、イェイェイイェイイェイ。お前何も言わないのかよ。このエレベーター長いってことに関して何もいや、歌ってくれてるからいいや。イェイイェイイェイイェイ。同じ回じゃないか。はい、秀夫さん、おいっすー。こんなすー。今、スタンリー・パラブル、ウルトラエディション。ウルトラデラックスエディションやってるよ。まあ、うんちしたし、エレベーター BGM 聞いたし、パンダも見えたし。銃突きつけられてね、お前。どういうどういうことやね。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845.
お前が教えてく
But
れる
of
のかい。
course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
教えてくれたからね。
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad,
Don't you
Stanley
say that?
happened to input the correct code
Don't you say
by
that?
sheer
Yes.
luck.
君が教えてくれました。
Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
すごっ。こんなエレベーター今時ある？お、ローリング画面に入った。ローリング、ローリング、ローリング、ローリング、ローリング、ローリング。
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
今時このエレベーター使う人いねえ。
Whoops. Nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
エレベーター変え、あ、後ろ向いただけ。
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow! I'm bolted to the edge of my seat. Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this? Surely this time Stanley will walk forward into the spooky corridor, won't he? Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No. It's time once again to go back in the elevator.
その時
I
が来
can't
た。
even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me.
マジでおもろいな、このゲーム。お
Oh my god. It's the boss's office. This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a time out here for a minute while I process this.
おい。おい。待たせんな。こら。こらこらこら。待たせんな。
Okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward
革命言う
with...
な。
No! No, wait! No! I need more time to process.
なんだ？オッケーオッケー、いいよいいよ。待ってあげる待ってあげる。おい、事前に用意してくれって。こんなものまで用意してたの。このゲームすごいね。もうマジいろんな状況のために用意してるね。すげえな、このゲー
All
ム。
right. I have fully come to terms with it.
受け入れたか。
I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality.
いいね。
As before, I turn to your expert eye for gripping narrative, Master Stanley.
何も変わってないよ。なんか。何も変わってないよ。何も変わってないぞ。おい、何も変わってねえじゃねえか。
Of course. Going back down in the elevator. How did I not anticipate it? I mean, sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted before.
Yeah.
I had no frame of reference to even anticipate it.
それは
That's
君
just
が
how revelatory Stanley's decision-making is. A breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling that has grown stale and repetitive.
いやいやいや、これを予測できなかったのは君がモブ A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, N, Z, O でこの物語を進めてから。俺は主人公だから。俺は主人公だから。お前主人公と一緒にやったことないでしょ。黙っちゃったよ、こいつ。
You know what? I've just thought of something. Hold on, let's stop for a moment. Don't you realize? It's the anticipation, Stanley. You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator. But the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill.
そう。
Oh, I simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't we take this elevator ride nice and slow?
いや、いいけど、これ
There
で
we go. Isn't this so much more exciting?
いや
You know,
君が
Stanley,
俺
it
を
seems like
1分ぐらい
nowadays
待たせ
the
て
only thing that
これで
audiences
上司の部屋
want
だっ
is
た
to be
お前を
shocked
許さない。
as loudly and frequently as possible. They want big, explosive moments flung right in their faces from the very moment that things get started. But where's the tension?
そう
Where's the trust in the
分かってるじゃない
audience
か。
to build a slow and nuanced appreciation
Yes.
for the story, the
Yes.
characters?
Yes.
Why aren't we given time to imagine the surprises? To have to
Yes.
think and to anticipate and then to marvel at the eventual reveal.
Yes.
This is storytelling, Stanley.
Yes.
What you and I are
主
doing
人
right
公のため
now.
のストーリー
This
テリ
is
ン
the
グは大
most
事。
exciting narrative to be developed in years. And
Yes.
it's really all because of you.
Yes.
You're
知
the
ってる
one
ね
who took
君。
this
分かってるね
bold。step of revisiting the exact same locations over and over.
Yes.
Truly, I
Yes,
mean it.
yes, yes.
This is unique and different. It's not like anything else out there. You see,
そう
I want stories that surprise me, Stanley. I
そ
want
う
to
よか
have
った
to
ね
think.
主人公と出会えて
I want to be engaged and not pandered to. We're being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know it, which is why we're so starved for content that makes us feel sharp
Yes.
and vital and alive.
Yes. Yes.
That's why people like you so much, Stanley.
Yes.
Because you're not afraid to spit in the face of tradition. You're
Yes.
a role model, you know? People look up to you. Which is why,
Yes.
though I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference for you so that you can talk about your work and your storytelling and your life. Yes, I know you're not much for the
Yes.
public eye, but I thought it would especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning. They really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for the better.
主人公だから
Oh, good, we're here.
変わってるおー
Okay, the room where we're holding the press conference should be just around the
Yes.
corner here somewhere.
Yes, yes. 任せよやっぱり主人公はね
Ah, yes, here it is, just through this door. All right, are you ready? I've told them you're going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling
すげえな
and
こ
what
の
it
ゲーム
means to
何でも用
craft
意
a
してある
truly unpredictable narrative. Oh, don't worry, you'll do great. Just be yourself and speak from the heart. I'm really proud of you,
で
Stanley.
しょ
Okay, it looks like they're ready for you. Go get them.
Oh yeah Oh Yeah Yeah 俺の顔あんなんなんだ本当にモブみたいな顔してんなあれねやっぱり俺はまあ主人公はね
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
じゃあ今度こ
Stanley
そ
decided
今
to
度
go
こ
to
そ
the
言うこと
meeting
聞き
room.
ます
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
いやね
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he
主
entered
人
the
公
door
だ
on
から
his left.
ほらリゼロの夏木スバルいるじゃんあいつは何度も
Yet
ね
there was not a
死んで
single
は
person
生き返
here
ってを繰り
either.
返して俺はそんな
Feeling
感
a
じの
wave
主人
of
公だから
disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
僕の心の安寧の場所を返していただけませんかおい。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
分かったよ。英語の聞いたよ。
Stepping
Yeah.
into his manager's office, Stanley
Yeah,
was
지원고
once
되셔.
again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some
Why?
calming new age music.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go. Sheesh. Sheesh. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked
何で
forward
もあり
into
だ
the
な、これ。
opened passageway.
本当に何しても許されそう、このゲーム。やば。はいね、今度言うこと聞いてあげますよ。やばいんだね。ちょっと考えつつ。い
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
や、今回は言うこと聞く。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to
お前に
himself.
対してじゃない、キ
Did
ヨ
he
ちゃん。
have the
君に対してじゃない。
strength to find out?
このナレーターの言うこと。君じゃない。ごめん、言うこと話聞いてなかった。これを進めばいいの？テクテクテクテクテクテク。何すればいいの？これを押せばいいの？
Now the monitors
Ooh,
jumped to life,
fired.
their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
427。あった。盗撮やん。エッチじゃん。
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
これは日本社会が50年後の姿だね。
No.
日本社会の
He
50年後の
refused
姿
to
これは。
believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
いや、だから君が一番知っていて日本社会だって。
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
オフにすればいいの？お？どうなった？
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away.
捧げよう。
Even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building
機
hold?
械による支配
But
じゃん。
as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
いい物語じゃないの。日本社会と現実。
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
これがトゥルーエンド的な感じの。これで終わりなん？戻ってきちゃった。え？今のトゥルーエンドじゃないってこと？
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to... Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
今はズルエンドじゃないの？何すればよかったのじゃ？
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
はい。
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad, Stanley
開け
pushes
て
the
くれる
buttons.
か。
Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway.
わーい。
Kill surprise.
でもなんかゲームオーバーみたいな感じにスタンディー・ファーバーにトゥルエンドあるのかな。今のトゥルエンドっぽくない？幸せなエンディングだから最後の最後で言うこと聞かないでやる。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read
こ
Mind
れはまた
Control Facility.
もしまたなんかゲームオーバーみたいな感じ。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
次はさっきはオフにしたけど今度はオンにしてみよう最後のとこ。
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
はい、ついてけついてけ。もういいもういい。
No.
分かった分かった分かった。
He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life
だから
utterly
周りのみん
blind
なの
to
こ
the
とを放っとい
world?
たからトゥルエンドには行けなかったんでしょ。だから
But
オ
here
ンに
was
す
the
ることに
proof,
よって
the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content.
オンにすることによってみ
Eating,
んなを救えるっ
working,
て話。
all of it monitored and commanded from this
わかったわかっ
very
たわかった。
place.
はいはいはい。
And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself?
No.
Is that what you wanted? Control?
まあ欲しいけど違う。あ？
Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that you can do. You were supposed to let it go. Turn the controls off.
だってさっきトゥルエンドに土がつがね、さっきのエスケープが正解だったの。何
I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA
知らねえが、お前拷問型してんだな、お前それぐらい言えよ。なんでオフボタンに DNA 適合がなくてオンに DNA 適合あるんだ。バカじゃねえのお前。何お前物語変えるんだったら今オフでしょ。2分
It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me,
Oi.
where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers
そうだよ。
are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated.
バカじゃねえの
All right, I'm in
お
a
前
good
には
mood.
正義感っていう
You're gonna
言葉
die
でも
anyway.
ねえのか
I'll
よ
tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it,
夜勤
I
休み
simply
になっ
let
て
you
美味
sit
し
there
く
in
な
your
りた
office
くない
room,
じゃん
pushing
そりゃそう
buttons endlessly and then dying alone.
爆発したら焼きなすどころじゃねえけどな、ああいう
I
時
let the
は
office sink into the ground, swallowing
Aye.
everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this though, this version of events has been rather amusing.
お前うるさい、
Watching
早
you
く
try to
とっ
make
と
sense
逃
of
げる
everything and
こ
take
う
back the
開示しろ
control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds
お
left.
前
But I'm enjoying this so much.
お前
You know
ド
what?
ド
To
S だ
hell
な
with it. I'm going to put some
お前ド M
extra
だな
time on the
ド
clock.
M?
Why
ド S だ
not?
ろ
These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees.
なんで増えてんのお前
Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right
そうだ
now?
よ
Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red
焦
button.
げなすどこ
Or
ろ
this
じゃないよ
door.
も
Everything,
保険系
anything,
保ってないナ
something
スになっ
here
てる
will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
お前笑い方うまいな
You're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just
Oi.
seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made
1のボタンどこ
This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy.
It's-
You wanted to control this world, that's fine.
3どこだっけ
But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't.
おーい
Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you
Oi.
have left to struggle. 30 seconds
おい
until a big
30秒
room
もがけるけど
has
30秒後にはもげてんだよ
being blown to
4
pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't.
お
It's all the same.
お
to
前
me.
俺の味方
All
か
part
の
of
か
the
敵
journey.
なのかはっ
And
き
believe
り
me,
1000
I
回
will
ボケなす
at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in
グッバイ
until
エン
the
プロ
moment I
427
say
じゃねえんだよ
happily ever after.
お前味方なの敵なの一番最初にお前の指令従わなかった時私は敵じゃないよって言ったけどお前敵になっただろ今
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
焼きナス美味しいです俺は焼きナス俺焦げどころか焼きどころか焦げでも何でもないからいただくなニューコンテンツあれこれ416だったよねニューコンテンツおい雨宮いただきますじゃねえんだよこんなすいらっしゃい
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
どういうさっきまで416こっちになるおなんか変わってる
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video
Ultra
game
Deluxe.
released in 2013 on home computers.
2013年なんだ
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022
Guess it,
with the
guess it, guess it,
Stanley
guess it, guess it.
Parable Ultra Deluxe, a
Yeah, I thought you
reimagining
were
of the
guessing.
game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable,
もっと
delighting audiences
コ
the
ンテンツ
world
ゲー
over.
ムもっと
Please
見たことない
step
見たことない
inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
ぶっちゃけこっから先は見たい感はあるけど、これを明日の楽しみにしてもいいんじゃないかっていう俺もいる。明日の楽しみにしようか。今日もいい時間やし、もうすぐで12時だからみんなも寝や。明日もあるよ。というわけで、今日の配信はここまでかな。明日もこれ配信する。スタンリーパラブル。パラブル。なんでもいい。このゲームを配信する。また明日も。明日はね、おそらくそんな残業は長続きしないから10時には配信開始できる予定ではあるから、また遊びにおいで。続き気になるでしょ。ニューコンテンツって言われる。やっぱコンテンツでね、生きる男は新しいコンテンツにめちゃくちゃ興味持ってるから。というわけで、みんないい夢見ろよな。今日の配信はここまで。みんな来てくれてありがとう。アーカイブ見てくれてる人もありがとう。また明日、10月12日、夜の10時から、またこれの続きをやっていきます。じゃあ、見に来てくれたみんなありがとう。